Ever notice how money always seems to find a way to, like, pop up everywhere, especially in relationships, right?
It's everywhere, isn't it? And it can be a real, like, make or break factor in relationships.
Totally. And that's what we're diving into today.
Mm.
How those sometimes subtle financial differences between partners can really shape things. We're looking at some notes for a potential episode all about finances in relationships.
Interesting stuff. I actually think this is something that impacts, well, pretty much everyone in some way.
Right. Because we often hear financial disparity and just assume it means, like, who has the bigger paycheck.
Exactly. But it's so much deeper than that. Think about things like debt, student loans, credit card balances. Those can create a huge imbalance right off the bat, even if one person's making more money at the moment.
Oh, for sure. It's like starting a race a few yards behind the starting line.
Exactly. Or even just different ways of thinking about money. Like imagine one partner is all about budgeting, spreadsheets, the whole nine yards, while the other, well, they just kind of wing it.
Ooh, recipe for disaster, maybe.
Laughs, potentially, because they're practically speaking different financial languages. You're fluent in saving for a down payment, and they're speaking, let's grab takeout again.
And suddenly, that cute quirk about them being spontaneous isn't so cute anymore.
Right. And those different approaches can easily escalate to full-blown arguments. Even just having different attitudes towards money can cause friction, you know?
Like what? Give me a for instance.
Okay, so say you're diligently saving up for that dream vacation, while your partner's idea of a good time is, like, buying the latest tech gadgets. Totally different financial priorities. Those kinds of things, if you don't get on the same page, can lead to some serious tension.
Makes you think about the whole power dynamic, too. Does a higher income automatically equal more decision-making power?
Ah, the age-old question, right? It's tricky. You can't just say whoever makes more money gets to be the boss. That's just not how healthy relationships work. But at the same time, let's be real, money does often influence who gets the final say, even if we don't like to admit it.
It's that unspoken weight behind certain decisions.
Exactly. And speaking of unspoken things, we can't forget the emotional toll all of this takes. Financial stress is a real thing.
It's not just about numbers on a spreadsheet, right?
Right. Studies actually show how much financial stress impacts, well, everything. Our mental well-being, our relationships, how we interact with the world. It's a heavy load to carry.
Absolutely. And it gets even more complex, I think, because we all walk around with these unspoken expectations about money. Those old school ideas about who should handle the finances. How do we navigate those outdated expectations, especially in today's world where, thankfully, roles are way more fluid?
Communication is key, that's for sure. But let's be real, talking about money can be, well, not exactly a walk in the park.
Yeah, it's up there with, like, going to the dentist for a lot of people.
Totally. And I think it's because money is tied to so much more than just dollars and cents, right?
Right.
It's linked to our sense of security, our values, even our hopes and dreams for the future. It's deeply personal.
So where do you even begin? How do you make those conversations feel less, I don't know, scary?
Well, this outline I have here emphasizes the importance of making a financial game plan, and this is key, together. And it can't just be about, like, damage control when there's already a problem. It's about having those conversations proactively and making choices as a team.
I like that, making it a team effort.
Right. And that might mean setting some shared financial goals, figuring out a budgeting style that works for both of you, that kind of
Yeah.
thing. And just being really open and honest with each other about your needs and worries.
I feel like for a lot of people, though, that word budgeting has, like, negative baggage attached to it.
Totally. People hear joint budget and imagine, like, being handed a tiny allowance and having their spending policed.
Exactly. It shouldn't be about restricting each other's freedom or making someone feel like a kid again.
Not at all. It's more about, like, getting on the same page, making conscious, informed decisions as a team that trusts each other.
Definitely. So once you've had those initial conversations, what's next? How do you keep the momentum going?
You know what I think would be incredibly helpful? Hearing from other couples who've been there and done that. Couples who've navigated the ups and downs of financial differences and come out stronger.
Totally. Because often, just knowing you're not alone in something can make all the difference. Like, imagine hearing how other couples overcame those challenges or what they wish they'd known sooner. It's like getting a sneak peek at the playbook, right?
Exactly, and hearing how they celebrated their wins, because it's not all doom and gloom, right? Sharing those success stories can be super inspiring, too.
Absolutely. And at the end of the day, this isn't just about, like, avoiding arguments about money, right? It's about how financial stability in a relationship impacts your overall happiness and well-being. as a couple.
Exactly. And, there's actually research that shows just that. Like, studies have found that couples who've figured out how to manage their finances will often report higher levels of relationship satisfaction. They're also, statistically speaking, less likely to split up. So, yeah, it's a pretty big deal.
That's huge. So figuring out the money stuff can actually pay off in, well, happiness.
It can, but at the same time, we can't forget about, like, the bigger picture,
Mhm.
societal trends and stuff. Things like the rising cost of living, those impact everybody, regardless of how perfect their budgeting spreadsheet is,
It's like we're all trying to navigate this financial maze together.
with all its twists and turns.
Exactly. So as we wrap up this deep dive, if you had to pick just one thing that really resonated with you today, what would it be? And even more importantly, what's one small step, even a tiny one, that you could take toward having a more open, honest conversation up money with your partner?